In our crazy, hyperproductive, always on world, it's so easy to feel like we're constantly moving, but never really arriving anywhere. We're chasing goals, we're checking off boxes, but something just feels missing, doesn't it? What if we've all kind of forgotten something really essential? Something that truly feeds us on a much deeper level? I mean, does this sound familiar to you? Your calendar is just packed, you're being super efficient, you're getting things done. But at the end of the day, there's this little nagging feeling that you're just running on a hamster wheel. You're busy, for sure, but are you genuinely fulfilled? It's such a common feeling, and honestly, it points to a much bigger issue.
And that's because it points to this one fundamental mistake that I think we're making as a culture. We've become so obsessed with productivity and progress that we're literally forgetting to feed the very essence of who we are. We're forgetting about the things that truly, actually nourish the soul.
So, to really get this, we first need to look at a really common mindset. It's a trap, really, that puts all the value on what's new and what's serious and pushes everything else to the side. This modern tendency has a few key ingredients. First, there's this assumption that new is always better than old, which needs us to just dismiss centuries of incredible inherited wisdom. Then there's this belief that things like art, music, and beautiful design are just, optional luxuries, not necessities. And maybe the most dangerous one, the idea that the only work that truly matters is serious work, the kind that gives you a clear, measurable result. And this contrast is just so important. The modern view is all about discarding the past, always chasing that next new thing. But a more virtuous, a more nourishing view, well, it doesn't just toss the past aside. It actually honors time-tested truths. It gets that there's deep, deep value in wisdom that has survived for generations. Okay, so here's the second major disconnect. We're often taught to see art as just a hobby, right? A non-essential extra. But what if we saw it in a totally different way? What if we saw beauty not as a luxury, but as essential nourishment? Like food for the soul. That completely changes how we see a beautiful piece of music, a stunning building, or even just a walk in nature. And this brings us to that last flawed assumption. The modern way of thinking tells us that play and creativity are for kids, or maybe for our spare time, if we ever have any. But the virtuous view, it knows better. It understands that play and creative expression, they aren't distractions. They are absolutely vital for a flourishing, happy, well-rounded life. So, if that's the trap we're in, how in the world do we get out? Well, the good news is there's a really clear antidote, and it's built on 3 virtuous practices. The solution really comes down to actively cultivating these 3 habits of mind. And when you put them together, they create this powerful, virtuous counterpoint to that modern trap. It's all about practicing respect for tradition, practicing aesthetic appreciation, and practicing creative expression. Okay, so first up, respecting tradition. This is really about standing on the shoulders of giants. It is not about blindly following the past or being old-fashioned. No, it's about having a conversation with it, honoring the wisdom that has lasted for so long while thoughtfully adapting it to our lives today. Second is aesthetic appreciation. This just means actively seeking out beauty and recognizing its power. It's about seeing a visit to a museum or listening to an amazing album, or even just noticing the beautiful design of a well-made chair, not as some frivolous pastime, but as an act of self-care. It's a way to nourish your soul. And finally, we have creative expression. This is all about the practice of valuing your own creativity. It doesn't matter if you're painting, playing an instrument, writing, or just playing a game with friends. You are engaging in an activity that is vital to your well-being. It is not a waste of time. It is a fundamental human need. So when we start to weave these 3 practices together into our lives, they start to reveal a pretty profound truth about what it really means to live a good life. This right here, this is the radical shift in perspective that we need. We have to stop seeing these things, art, music, play, beauty, tradition, as secondary, as add-ons we get to after all the important work is done. They are not secondary. They are vital. They are absolutely essential. I mean, just think about that for a moment. All these things we've been talking about, they aren't distractions from life. They are life. They are the very substance, the very fabric of a rich, meaningful, and deeply human existence. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to carry with you. Knowing what you know now, what kind of beauty, what little piece of wisdom from the past, or what simple act of creativity are you going to choose to nourish your soul with today?